This is how you winterize a two-stroke outboard motor. It's extremely simple. You're gonna need a standard screwdriver, kind of a fatter end, your oil pump. You don't even need one of these. You can get a tube of oil and you can roll it in. And I got a standard West Marine 90 weight oil. You have to change the lower end oil in the fall on every single boat, in my opinion, just in case if you have water in there, it will burst. So all I do here is I remove this screw right here. I'm gonna do the top one first. This is the top one right there. It says fill with oil right there. So top one, or actually I'm gonna do the bottom one first. That way it doesn't drain on me as fast. You try not to drop it. See what we got. It's a little milky. I did get the seals redone in this thing. So maybe I'll have my mechanic look at it in the spring, but you really want it just the blue color, but it's an older motor. And then remove this one. Make sure your seal is on there. If you have a little gasket, you want your gasket on there. It probably stuck on the bottom part there. I have extras in my case. They look like that. Now that I remove the top screw, it flows out a lot faster. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pump with my older cord here. I'm just gonna pump this in here. You wanna fill from the bottom though. Just pumping that in there, help it flow out a little bit. Trying to rinse it. There we go. Just trying to rinse it out. I can see the little gasket that's on there. It's stuck on there. It's probably on the bottom too. I'm just gonna replace them anyways. The gaskets are very inexpensive. So I am gonna fish that other gasket out. I'm just gonna replace the washers. They're super inexpensive and it is cheap insurance to make sure it seals. I'll put another one on there. So now that I removed my first screw first, my second screw so it'll drain faster, I noticed that there was no washers on there. So I just bought this boat. I put brand new ones on there. They're very inexpensive. I'd say when you buy some, buy a bunch. That way you have some, at least 4. I cleaned off the area right there. Let's see. Can't see. And then I scraped that area too. I'm kind of running fluid through the lower end to kind of rinse it out. As you can see, it has some water got in there. I'm guessing because it had no washers. So I'm taking a little tiny flathead. I'm kind of scraping up the inside, making sure the old gasket's not in there. There wasn't a gasket. Making sure that one's not in there real smooth so the new one will fit really nice. That's what I'm doing here. I'm gonna let it drip for a while. Then to finish off the Winterize, I already ran seafoam or a stable in my gas last time I was in the lake. What I recommend doing is running your boat, obviously with water on it, then unhooking the gas line. So unhook it and let it run all the way out. Then, if you want, every boat's different on this one, is you can take off the screw on the bottom of your carburetor bowl and let that fuel drain out. I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna leave it because I ran fuel stable in there, and I'm going to disconnect my batteries. I would recommend bringing them in, but since this one is my secondary boat and I don't really care about it that much, I'm gonna leave the batteries in. I'm just gonna disconnect them, and I'm gonna check on the charging. I'm gonna put it under my deck so I'll be able to access and charge them every month. Run a trickle on them. That's how I winterize my little two-stroke. It is very important that you drain the lower end though, in every single boat. If you want, you can take the spark plugs out and fog the motor. I'm not going to. While my boat was draining, again, I ran a stable through the fuel, so I don't need to run the motor again. I tarped it. Got my hose hooked up. The same connector that fits my Merc Cruiser fits on the Evenrude here. And I'm going to put my pump into my jug and pump the fluid until it comes out of the top hole. Once it comes out of the top hole, I'm gonna put my plug in the top hole, and then I'm gonna take this out and put the plug in the bottom. There we go, I'm all hooked up, I'm pumping. Should take less than 1 quart for sure. These West Marine, came off there a little bit. Quarts are not as expensive as the Quicksilver, but I run Quicksilver 100% in my Merc Cruiser. I'm gonna fix that and keep on. There it goes, it's pumping out. I'm gonna put this top screw in there, give her a good snug down, and then quickly remove the bottom one and then tighten that in. So you want to do the top first, That way the air can't get in there. It'll be easier and you'll lose less fluid doing it in this order. There we go. Lower end is full of fresh oil, ready for spring. And it should start right up because I treated the fuel. That's how you winterize your outboard engine. Doesn't really matter on what year. 2-stroke.